How is everybody? What's up, chat? I see our people in there. Give me 1 second. I just gotta close the door. Okay, since we're rolling, we'll just roll with it. Um, uh, we are live with the forum session number 69, I believe. It is 4 p.m. in Europe, 5 p.m. in Romania, 10 a.m. in New York City. We hope you're all well. This has been a whirlwind of events, and it's been quite fun. So 2 weeks ago, the proposal was released for the first time. Since then, a lot of things have happened. A lot of great amendments and improvements have been done. I think the last week, as we were saying on Monday, was really intentionally set as an extension to explain some of the concepts better, to allow for more feedback, to see if there's other things that needed to be surfaced. Um, and so today we're doing a fairly quick roundup, most likely, unless there's interventions here from the stage. Welcome, Benny. On where we stand, we'll do a walk through the proposal once again. There have been a few changes made. Just want to make sure that everybody is on the same page, and then we'll lay out how the next week and weeks will be um, going forward. So, yeah, in the Agora, we've been monitoring that. We've been monitoring the feedback submission forms. We've been monitoring the amendment submissions form. We've been monitoring the post platform. And hopefully the explainers that were put out in the last few days have been able to shed a little bit more light on some of the complex features in the proposal. But yeah, first I want to welcome everybody here on stage now that the intro is done and everybody's here, and then we'll dive into the proposal itself. Welcome Benjamin, welcome Lucian, welcome Robert.
Hello, hello. How's it going?
Good to see you. How are y'all all doing?
Very good.
Amazing. I mean, good to be alive. There has been some very interesting discussions and fresh energy coming all along the last days. Uh, we've been hosting a small meetup in the offices here in Sibiu, and I think the energy there was just brilliant. I think that was it. Remembered everybody to the good old days. That was actually pretty much the setup where people were just coming in, taking notes. I remember just people coming and taking with pen and paper, writing down how staking works. And this just actually uh, came the energy came along pretty much the same way, at least for me. And people were going out with big smiles and one big conclusion, such that I think everybody pretty much is on the same page that they made the decision that the economic proposal is extremely positive for the network, and that everybody just wants to have it done, right? So, uh, yeah, just this is a bit just a short warm intro from my side, but again, it was very refreshing actually sitting in person with stakeholders, with validators, with builders, and yeah, Benjamin, Mike to you.
I mean, the same could be said about the conversation with Alex that I can't wait to share. It was, as you'll see, it's refreshing to get the perspective of someone who has contributed in advising the government, advising networks, thinking about the acceleration of innovation, thinking about growth, and so on. And it was very a very refreshing conversation and fun conversation. But I'm sure the community will enjoy it, and it will prompt them to think about a few different things. Um, just because of how warm, honest, and then also pointed the conversation was. So quite excited about that, and it's also an honor to have this type of people and be able to have conversations with them. Um, Alex was reminding himself and remembering very fondly the meetings that we had very early on, the meetings that we had with the team at the different X days, and the conversations. And it's very interesting what someone that sits in the economics field um, views in the market, views within the progress that we're trying to do, and how things are seen from the outside, like from afar. All this investment, and without going too much into this, he did say at some point that we have the patience of saints, and he does almost not envy us in that respect, because at the end of the day, most of the teams, most of the projects will not sit for so many conversations and so many discussions. But at the end of the day, to begin the conversation and maybe even come a bit closer, I think we've done a tremendous exercise here in bringing the different people together, listening to the different feedback notes, taking note ourselves of the feedback, processing it carefully, and coming back with some things that incorporate, that integrate, that clearly show that we not only listen but actually actively process things to find a better solution. And at the end of the day, after a marathon like this, not forgetting that the marathon is the best marathons lead and end with action. As long as you have action, it's like a big release and big relief, because the community knows and everyone knows this is where we're going. We said we were going here, we've just gone there, and now we're just reminding everyone again that after this weeks of conversations, we're now super close to the point where we feel we've integrated everything, thought deeply about things. And the last few days, um, I've felt the need to just step back and prepare for the community and for the conversations some more refined ways of looking at the model that actually draw the signal and point much clearer to what we are trying to do and how we're trying to do it. So quite excited to be here and reach this point, and happy to have experienced this and gone through this with the entire community, because this will be another element that in hindsight they will look back at and they'll say, hey, you remember, this is how we've done it, this is how they invested actually in the conversations with the community, and this is how we found a good ground to push things forward. So yeah, um, Mike, back to you, Lucas.
Yeah, important context. And again, it's been a very rewarding, I think, process, and very interesting to see how many good things have come out of it. I was also reminded of the actual history of the marathon, right? Like that is the announcement of the victory of the Athenians over the Persians, and the messenger ran for 20 miles to deliver this victory. So there is something, this message, there is something very important that then, after the victory comes a lot of other work that needs to be done to incorporate new kingdoms. So I think an interesting analogy there, and I do
Let
think
those come. Let those come. I think we with all the fights we've seen during the last few days and weeks, um, people are ready for the new kingdoms. I hope the new kingdoms don't die in the process, and we see the promised land.
No tariffs on new kingdoms, please.
Yes, please,
Exactly. Amen.
please.
I will pass it, Robert. Just maybe a brief introduction to how you've seen the last couple of weeks, and then I will also let you share the screen and walk us through the proposal as it now stands. Again, still a draft, section by section.
It was a complicated first week. It was like a little bit of war out there to discuss about the whole paper. It was big, and then um, the information needed to settle down for every person. I think that it was quite, let's say, well done in that sense, and that we were, let's say, up on the trenches, on the first rows, and doing all the discussions and being engaged with everybody. After 1 week, it felt that, let's say, the community and everybody is tired, so we had to take a slower approach. And then that's why this week we were, let's say, creating educational content but making it as short as possible. So that's why those 2 minutes, 8 minutes videos, and a few more are in production. So to share those and to make those explanations, because they're like, economics is hard, especially here in Europe. Nobody learns anything about that. And then you either go and start reading yourself, or I don't know, you just hear something from the internet and you believe in one thing or the other, or think that the hard cap is good, or you think that the hard cap is not good. And you start to let's say, it is hard for a lot of people to form their own opinion. In the end, I think that education matters, and those who want to educate themselves on economics, like crypto, is the best place to do it. You have to learn a lot, but not it can be simplified as we wanted. So this week was more about, let's say, the finer small details and discussions more closely with the community. All the DMs were open. It was open on Twitter, on Telegram, and even on calls. Got a few calls with builders, community members, and then yesterday it was this kind of internal meeting where we tried to explain again for a set of people, mostly from Sibiu and Romania, what is this economics and how it ties together and why we are doing it. And again, I think that tomorrow night you can learn more about this with the video from Alex Tabarok. I can't wait to watch it fully.
Tonight, 2 hours or so from now, should be out.
Yeah, I saw that it is announced, so I didn't spoil anything. So it was announced, so I didn't spoil anything, so it's okay. But again, that's a good let's say good night story before going to sleep here in Europe. And it is a must, so we had to do this, and I think that right now we are in a much better position. And after all the amendments and everything, I don't think that anyone can question our intentionality or what we want to do with this, because everything is about the growth, growing the ecosystem, not only the core team, not only the foundation, but everybody in the ecosystem to grow together. That's our intentions, and that's why we are building. And then innovation cycles will happen from year to year, so we have to be prepared for the long game ahead and for every, let's say, up and every down. There were quite a lot of down here in October. It's Downtober, but we hope it is going to be changed. So
Tariff Tober. Hopefully, tariffs conclude with China sometime this year, so that we can at least have a Christmas I hope, if I'm not asking for too much.
Maybe that's too much. From my perspective, the market is reacting too vividly to these news. But some people love that, so they can get more. So the whole document was cleaned up and more information was added as we go section by section. We still use the two colored thingy, and then most of the I think I've made the upgrade yesterday on Agora, and then I will recheck if with all the document later today to put it on Agora. But the document link is actually it is viewable by anybody. So Lucas, you can push it here and we can share it a few more things. The whole concept is about securing the base, incentivizing growth, capturing more value, and reinforcing the core. And then you go this and do it looped by loop. The legacy model for 10 years, it was not the best decisions. It should have been for a long period of time, and I would say that the legacy model should be the new one from the start, and we would be in a much better position in a lot of senses. But the idea is that economics needs to be, let's say, dynamic, and one thing is super nice when people can actually admit that something is wrong and then they can create something better and something new. That's how innovation happens. That's how growth happens. That's how things are moving forward. Otherwise, we would be stuck, I don't know, goat farming somewhere, every one of us. Goat farming, yesterday was a joke around that, so that's why I am using it. So we lowered the starting rate to 8.75. This number, it's actually means that when the first year starts, then in 1 year we mint the amount of tokens which will be released will be equal to the max supply, like the initial supply, and then it starts to decay rapidly. And then we made a bunch of simulations on base and bull cases when this can curve down into deflation. And then if we manage good, and we don't need to manage like insanely, but like we need to manage really good, but it will get into a decaying phase pretty fast. And then it is only the starting year, it goes down towards 5%. That's the stabilization phase, and the steady phase will be between 2 and 5%, depending on the KPIs. One of the important things is that you can have bigger emission when the growth is in the ecosystem, because that's when you can fuel the economy to create even more goods. And then you can slow down the emission in the moments when there is no growth. It's an actual sound theory. It might sound counterintuitive a few times when you say out loud, but once you start to read books, then everything is going to be clean. So how do you measure growth? Is by staking ratio, to put up a target of 65 to 70%, protocol revenue via burns, which is going to increase constantly, and DeFi activity. Via DeFi, we can measure really well how much revenue is generated on the blockchain and blockchain. So serious blockchains are considered when they can actually demonstrate their DeFi is good. And MultiversX demonstrated that there were no hacks, everything went well, and like we are super secure on this. Now we have to demonstrate with numbers, and the numbers have to go up. This creates a composite growth, and then we have the formula in the initial phase, which is when inflation is above 5%, and the low rate phase. technically it means that the decay, so how much the new inflation next year changes, is between 0.125 and 0.25 depending on the growth. So when you have high growth, you are decaying lower, meaning that you are emitting more because the economy is moving forward super fastly, and we love that. A few scenarios, interactive simulator, and then we go into the emission model where the goal for each of the buckets is defined. Maximize security for staking, maximize DeFi usage, and actually create opportunities for builders to create that DeFi which really matters, meaning composable, open source, and secure. So here it will create a bunch of new great applications for users. Ecosystem growth fund is for the builders to fund new innovation cycles, and the protocol sustainability is to create the best of the best in terms of protocol, with evaluation and rebalancing governance every single year. On the fee market, we explained that how this split of 90% builders, 10% is burnt on the base fee, and the priority goes to the validators, how this is not attackable. It is safe. The fees for the failed transactions are completely burned, both base and priority fees. So you cannot, let's say, you cannot farm with failed transactions. The validators, 10% to the leader, rest to the consensus members in order to solve the issue of, let's say, a set of leaders not signing the transaction because the block, because in the next block they would be able to reap bigger priority fees. So solving all those things, and then as the time goes on, we are going to burn more and more, so to lead towards deflationary mode as well. The capacity of the blockchain will be insanely big with supernova and the current amount of shards, and as the shards numbers are growing, this capacity will grow even more and more, being able to ensure more and more builders and products to get. From the accelerator, some people said that the X Alliance and Foundation members, it's bad, I don't know what. It was written in the next line that is just an example. Just an example means just an example. Sorry to call out loud. The intentionality of this is really to create a group which the DAO has to verify only if the KPIs are met. They have to verify that things were not gamed, and they will need to sign a report around a public report around that the KPIs are met, and so the intentionality is some of the things which cannot be measured at the protocol level. A set of DAO members have to verify those, and then make decisions on those. But again, there are tons of guardrails like milestone-based grants for the growth fund with lock mechanisms, KPIs defined in order for these funds to not go into wrong directions. And for the growth dividend fund for users, again, somebody was calling out that whitelist is not good. Okay, deleted whitelist, and we said that okay, participating protocols had to be open source, professionally audited, secure upgradability, and clear alignment of economics. So the intentions is good. It's not about creating something bad. Don't get triggered on bad words, on some words, when the intentions are actually written in the document. And the core principle is that the boost gets boosts only if you have um, staked gold or liquid staking and external capital alongside with lock mechanisms. A bunch of examples are added in the active yield strategies. So this means that the builders will have a set of opportunities or things that we think that are important for this fund, and they can start already at least wipe coding it and then getting fully open sourced, audited, secure solutions out there in order for everybody to enjoy DeFi, to have better products, and the DeFi to grow uh, to grow constantly. Then we have the protocol sustainability for increased advancement of the development of the protocol. And then we are going to release continuously the roadmaps, vote on the roadmaps, discuss on the roadmaps, share our ideas, and then demonstrate that how we are actually working towards these, like GitHub reports where you can see the code and everything that we are going in the direction of implementing those things. The last big thing was the reflexive strategic investments, where this week Benjamin entered the double opt-in mechanism for everything. So we will have initially a big vote on this. That in principle those things should happen. And then for every deal, they will be presented publicly to the community, and another big governance vote for those deals will happen step by step. That's rewritten in the activation steps and transparency and the use of funds, and that these funds are 3 years locked with security and protection, swiftness and intentionality. So the DAT and the ETFs are definitely for creating the bridge between the blockchain ecosystem and the institutional funds which could come into it. And then the MVX labs in US, it's about creating new integrations, new partnerships, and everything around those things which we need, such as more bridges, stable coins, custodians, and integrations. So the outcomes did not really change. We want competitive yield staking, we want revenue growth, we want investments. This is a new model totally in, let's say, in the what happening in the crypto ecosystem. We are giving out a lot for the developers, but measuring those with clear KPIs. So let's say while App Store gets 30% of the revenue of the builders, we are giving 90% for them via fees, but there are also the DeFi growth funds and the ecosystem funds. So creating opportunities for everybody. Validators can start to build up more applications. Investors can get in and start to build applications, and especially with all the new AI tools, creating apps is becoming safer, easier and easier. The final, or not final, let's say the current model of a tentative schedule, it's we had more than 2 weeks of discussions and debates. Next week we would have the Grand Assembly and the final governance proposal to be published, and a bunch of documents around it, because we need those final mathematical formulas, but those will be in an appendix. Definitely for every single things, just to be sure that everything is closed. And then the official governance vote, which will be 10 days. The good news here is that the liquid staking providers are already started to integrate the governance from the meta chain, so everything will go on really smoothly. That was a technical work in the meantime. And then if everything goes well, then we will create a technical implementation document for the initial rollout, which is taking phase 5, which will get a star name definitely, which means that the new emission and the distribution model will be coded, and then that has to be released. And after that, we will create the technical implementation paper for the updated fee model, the KPIs, the reflexive strategies, and everything. And we need somewhere in end of November to create the process for the DAO member election and everything around it. Supernova, it still remain tentative in December, and then the final implementations for the new fee model, the KPIs and everything, tentatively early next year. So this is, let's say, the walkthrough again on the document. Hopefully I did not bore you too much. Go and read technically more about what we added in the documents, and then drop your questions whenever you need.
Exactly. Thank you, Robert. Yeah, detailed walkthrough. Again, if there's any questions that are open, this is very much something we're interested in hearing. And I think hopefully a lot of things have been clear. There's some more video content, and we already more than teased the discussion with Alex Tabarrok to also have a broader economic perspective or an economist's perspective on the proposal and, let's say, the philosophy behind it, the thought that went into it. So looking forward to that. Yeah, I think right now, important to just take quick inventory. I think there's been a lot of changes implemented that you can see there. There is more time to do it, and we'll talk about the schedule in a second. I just also wanted to mention this past week, and there's been so many great people involved in this process, and specifically talking about the sections they care about. This is the constant changes that you see made to this document are very much the result of a process that implements all of this community feedback. So really indebted to the people putting so much work in there. Thank you so much. We've also been spending a lot of time, like Robert was saying, in calls, in different meetings. Yesterday was a meetup at the headquarters with some stakeholders in CBU. So maybe just give an overview, Lucian and Benjamin, if you can, of like how this process, even before proposing, coming out with the proposal, has worked, talking to different stakeholders, who's been involved, who have you been talking to, and kind of give us a status update on where everything stands with that.
I think you can do some maybe a bit of overview on CBU, and then I'll add a bit of background on the model conclusion and how we want to move forward.
Definitely. So I think the idea of which I came to the conclusion that there is a need of such a meetup on such a short notice was actually after discussing with several key stakeholders from within the ecosystem on different other topics, and then eventually just briefing and getting a short vibe check on the economics proposals, assuming that they had all read the documentation and that they all understood. And then, surprisingly, of course, things did not landed as expected, obviously. And most of it, even more to that, people have not understood. And then actually after discussing with us, or discussing with me, said that funny that after so many days they have not yet understood it correctly, and then immediately after the vibe and the vote towards have shifted immediately, and then it became obvious that if those kind of very smart people don't catch from the first time they read or second time and so forth, and they need this kind of personal walkthrough. I said, okay, then let me just fly over, go gather as many of the builders, stakeholders, large stakeholders, large EGLD holders, validators in the same room, where we will go in simple words in native language with the people around, and then also try to break it down very easily. And that worked, I think, extremely well. I think that was something that at the end, I think people came with questions. Again, just doubling down, came with some very interesting ideas. Actually, what MultiversX could serve in the market and how it could stand out in terms of use cases, which was actually just a very on top uh, outcome that was not expected. But yeah, I think that's on the event, and then mostly again it was again breaking down and reiterating and re-explaining step by step in native language to with so to say grassroots the entire meaning of each of the points until they are well understood, and people, you could see people walking at the end smiling and actually getting excited about it and asking, okay, now when do we pass the vote? So that's a very brief brief overview, I think, on the yesterday's event. Other than that, I've been trying to use every single minute to reach all the personally all the large validators, people, whales, and so forth. Just making sure that again they are educated and that are brought on the same page. Also, even try to use even dinners, lunch times, use any kind of excuse to get all of them educated on and up to date. And indeed, this is seen as a big step forward for the entire ecosystem. Of course, just putting out there also people that don't want to talk much about crypto those days, uh, or are less involved into ecosystem, but that's kind of obvious, and that's the normal path that people also focus on somewhere else, especially when the maximum pain is here. They don't want to explode or capitulate in any way. So, but that's again just markets and people actually following their process of surviving, staying alive, and keeping themselves busy with whatever works for them. So that's that. And then yeah, I think there's a couple of more days where I think also besides that, I think we started the producing and putting even more and more content out there on the videos. Big up and thanks for the entire design team, Robert as well, actually feeding all the agents to come up with this simplified content that I think it's a lot more readable or listenable and enjoyable, actually, what to get educated about that. So that's a bit on me. Again, there's still a lot of work to be done for the upcoming days, but at least I think until now things are falling into place very smoothly and very nicely.
Benjamin, did you want to add on the broader scope 13?
Yes, sure. So I think we've covered quite a lot. The document part, we have now a good overview, a good grasp on the document. Up until this point, I think mentally we've worked very much on a. You could consider this the scribble notes. So the notepad that you share with the guys, you solve the formula, you write it here upwards and downwards and so on, and you solve the math in real time. And that's the type of exercise that we've gone through, especially to educate the people on how this process goes, on what's the thinking behind it, and so on. Now, we're going to transition into this phase where we're emerging above the line, where the document becomes clear, polished, put in a kind of paper version, which is much more readable in some sense, and then in some other sense, it's now clear that the points are firm, validated, and so on. But with this step, we also transition into a step of actually, given that the model is now firm and the PRs have been approved, reviewed, and committed, fully merged into the main branch, if you will. What's happening is we're now spending a few days of the time to translate this in some clearer, let's say, math graphs or visuals, or some very intuitive visuals that speak much more to what we're trying to achieve with this. And if I'm zooming out, I believe that we maybe a lot of the time forget that we're not only talking with the rational mind here of the different colleagues and people and so on, but there's maybe 90% of the conversation with is with emotional mind, with psychology of people. And you have to be mindful, we have to be mindful of a few things. One, this is a rigorous, anchored, validated model on which we've received peer review and validation from the most brilliant minds, friends, and so on that we could. In the ecosystems that we have friends, and that is a huge step. Now, there's another step which has to do with how do we make sure that this is translated into something that someone can put into one sentence and can sell to their friends and can sell to their family, can sell to other builders, other stakers, other investors. Because if we arm the people, if we arm our community with that, that's the type of thing that will start a movement around the new upgrade, around what's going to happen during the next week and the week after that, and so on. And all of a sudden, if you also have some good weather with on the macro level, which we never know what appears, disappears, and then appears again. Um, that type of thing, I believe, just cements the model much faster than almost anything. So concluding a bit on this point, I see that we've spent this great effort on narrowing in on the objectives. What are the objectives? We want, very simply put, to 10x the liquidity inside the MultiversX ecosystem. We want to 10x the revenue and usage of the MultiversX network. And we want to 10x the demand in terms of token buying power and buying pressure. So, how do we achieve that? Very simply put, this is what the economics model solves. On the one hand, we have the competitive staking rewards that are simply the tools through which we attract new liquidity to the ecosystem. As long as new liquidity comes in, locks, and stakes e-gold, this will be great. Second, we have the new incentives for builders with one key goal to use the network 10x more and to generate revenue within the network. Why that? Because that will also contribute to buy pressure on eGold. That will also tighten the demand side of the liquidity. And that feeds into what we said is the first step. Now, the third step is demand driven growth that specifically tightens the buy pressure because it sets the DAT, because it sets the US pressure, the US labs point, and the US ETF. Those are specific tools to just amplify the demand, simply put, and make sure that EGLD is placed on Wall Street. It's placed on the New York Stock Exchange with a kind of proxy, and exists within this very connected financial ecosystem in the US. So I believe we've gone through this, but now the effort will be much more in um, communicating and simplifying and translating this as we get toward the voting part. We feel that we've gotten a lot of positive feedback, and we've also reached a point where this is the voice of the collective community, whether this is in Europe, whether this is in Romania, whether this is in France. um, if eGold would be at 1,000, we would be very careful what we change, because it would mean growth is there. It would mean we're in a very, very beneficial place for everyone. But if eGold is at 10, if eGold is at a point where the downside is very limited and the upside is incredible, then we believe um, you need some hard decisions and thoughtfulness and strategy to be able to enable better times. The better times do not come by themselves. They come because someone takes the pain, someone takes the risk, someone puts a lot of effort, and together with you, we've put in the effort to both nail the things that we really want to nail, but then also make sure that we we bring you on the journey here and integrate the paths, and then make sure that we make the decision and move forward. Stopping here, I think we've covered quite a lot, and I would again very much appreciate state this, that we appreciate both the internal like over effort, over investment of the different teams to just be there and have these conversations and provide information and be open. It's super tough to try to build something and then at the same time go through this communication marathon. So great effort by the teams. Then I would also state that I've seen a great effort by different people, builders and community members and even X Alliance members and so on, that have taken the time to just write some of their own stuff. And I would urge people to become a bit aware of this mimesis, what is called mimesis, where people just copy other people. They do not think at all for themselves. And then if someone says this is good or this is bad, there's no thinking put into that. So as soon as you read something and sit a bit and think for yourself, do I want growth? Do I have a better solution? Is now the moment to just sit and stand still, or is it the moment to actually make some move and take some action and find a better way? Then you'll either reach a good conclusion where you have a better option, or you'll reach the conclusion where you say, this is not the walk in the park that I thought it was. And I'm happy that someone is spending so much time and energy to actually find a solution. Because if there's one thing for which we're aligned, is we want to see this technology used, and we want eGold, and we want the MultiversX ecosystem to grow. So concluding the thoughts here, and I think the perspective of Alex Tabarok will also be just a refreshed view from someone that is far from the outside, but can clearly cut through the noise and sharpen the conversation. So we'll be curious to hear a bit people's thoughts after this, and to see how it looks.
Yeah, very much so. Sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt.
No, please. This
Awesome.
is
So
this is it.
with that, and I think that's a lot of good perspective, and there's a lot of good perspective as that we can probably expect from this conversation. I will just briefly kind of mention the plan for the next few days. Um, well, this evening there is the podcast. Hopefully, there will be a bunch of cool perspectives, interesting things you haven't heard or haven't heard in this way or put that way um, yet, coming out of this. Then now, with the proposal being in a fairly good place, again, repeat, we've been listening over the past week a lot, had some separate conversations, some group conversations, some in-person conversations. The general sentiment seems to be that the proposal is in a good shape. So the intention now is to go to the schedule as planned in the following ways. On Monday, we will have the Grand Assembly as it was originally scheduled last week. On Tuesday, so just a word on this, basically a last discussion on all the sections. If there's any further amendments, feedback, proposals that should be integrated, this is the time to do it. We'll probably start relatively early in the day, or we'll see. Don't want to give a specific time yet. Probably around this time again, and then we'll see if there's anything else that needs to be amended. There might be amendments even made again over the weekend. And I'll say this also: in order for any further changes, etc., to be implemented by this time, please, if you want to make any further changes, submit them over the weekend so the team has time to actually process it, look at it, and take some time with it. Again, this has been a very, let's say, painstaking and tedious process in some ways, and a very thorough process in the sense that everything was looked at, was evaluated, and then a lot of these things were integrated. So if there's other things that you feel are needed, please take the time to submit them beforehand so that they can actually be processed. This uh, this will help a lot, and then bring them again. They can be discussed and evaluated on Monday during this grand assembly. So now, providing that everything goes well on Monday, on Tuesday, the team will then take the time to actually codify everything, meaning the proposal will be put into a final form, as Benjamin mentioned, something that is a little bit more legible also than Agora. Obviously, we realize that this is not the ideal format, but it's a very good format in order to surface contributors and changes that need to be made to specific sections. So that is the plan for Tuesday. And then on Wednesday, the intention is to have the vote open. A 10-day voting period will be provided. Over this time, again, there will be more information, etc., to clarify anything that isn't clear in the proposal as it stands. And we really encourage everybody to come out and actually vote. That doesn't need to be in any certain direction. It's just very important to participate in these governance processes. So for all the contributors, everybody who has made all the changes or integrated the changes and are now happy, thank you so much. If there are contributors out there that want more things to be integrated, please submit your proposals and amendments as soon as possible so they can be processed. Everybody, please join on Monday for the Grand Assembly, even if you're just there to listen. Be great to have a big turnout and make sure everybody actually is there, understands the proposal, understands what they're voting on, and that will be great. And then, yes, of course, also once the vote is underway, please do participate. Also, just as a note, if there is big things happening, big changes needed, we do, of course, have flexibility to change things. But for now, it seems like the plan can move forward as scheduled, and we're very much looking forward to actually finishing the marathon with a good message at the end of the day. So I do think this has been echoed in the community, that people are more or less ready to vote. I did see a pulse um, form there that was like 90+%. We're ready. Not enough people are participating in polls, so hopefully in the governance proposal there will be more. And again, we strongly encourage you to bring everything that you want to the table beforehand. So that's the plan. If there's any questions about that, we're also happy to answer it. Yeah, other than that, we will probably let everybody go back to work, because there's a lot more work to do. And I'll pass it around to our great panel here, starting with Robert, um, on last words on today, and then what you're looking forward to in the next few days. Robs, the stage is yours.
Sorry, I missed it.
Oh no, I gave you such a great introduction. Just closing thoughts. Next couple of days, what are you looking forward to? And then yeah, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, what do you want people to do?
Tomorrow, taking actually a break, again, a 24-hour internet break. That will be great
Don't
to.
jinx us with another crash, please.
No, I don't care about crashes right now. I care about building new stuff, and I need the mental break to go into, let's say, the next days with a bigger clarity. I think that we will get out more educational content, more math, more formulas, some simulations, and then put together, let's say, a comprehensive folder with everything we have around this economics, and then show it to the community. And then the community can understand even more and even more. So I'm looking forward to that, and then to see how the governance vote looks like, and how much support it gathers. Let's see if we can break some records. That would be fun. So yeah, aiming high, and then aiming for, let's say, real up and real growth.
Awesome, Lucian. Famous last words, and then Benjamin.
Famous last words is the most. There's only jokes that comes in mind with that starts with famous last words, but nevertheless, actually, going actually to 2 points. I think the process, like if I look at what has been done the last 2 weeks here, I think we had the strongest high signal debates and contributions we had in terms of shaping any proposal that we ever had since the inception of the Elrond times. So just giving and putting what we have achieved so far for what it is, and giving it the space. I think again, this was a challenging path, and it is very much a challenging path. It is an out of the ordinary approach to what we're trying to do, but also we've seen out of the ordinary contributions and people jumping in, taking the seat with us, putting themselves in the driver's seat, and guiding and providing a plan and trying to shape towards a better direction for the entire ecosystem. This is what I think brings value. This is what unites everybody, and this is what I think is a community and ecosystem about. Which, even though the markets are harsh, we are here, and it's fascinating how most of the time we need to get through very tough times in life to take the tough decisions. And those tough decisions actually get us to better times, and so on. So I think we are in a very good moment that I want everybody to exactly participate and make sure that it will be next week a new chapter for the EGLD economy brought home. Uh, Looking forward to that, and maybe as just a note, if there's more stuff that could be explained more audience or targeted people that we should talk to, that are stakeholders from the ecosystem, and they should be educated. I think there's still time. Please come to us, let us know, and we'll try to organize a very fast X day for them to educate them. Joking, but not at least we'll try to come closer with materials that are in their language and speaking to as close as possible to what is needed for them to understand. So that's from my side.
Gents, I would say very simple. The obstacle is the way. There is no way where you can get to the next level without solving the obstacle. We're facing the obstacle. We're here. We found a solution, and the solution is right in front of us. We've gone through the process, and now we're going to take it to the next level. Thank you for being with us, and see you on the other side. Some more work to do next week, but it was good to serve with you on this process of nailing it, bringing it out, and so on. So the obstacle is the way. Once you come to terms with that, then I think there's a lot of calibration there. Thank you, and wish you guys a really great weekend, where you enjoy some time, take some time to let the dust settle in, and then look at the next steps. Just think how you'd want the next level to look like, what you would want to engage with, what would be exciting, what would get you going, provided that there's a new economics model and incentive, and it's gone through and it's all a success. What would you maybe wish most to contribute with? That's a good path to leave you with, and then I'm sure the mind has a way to work in a mysterious way. Maybe you dream something good, you think something good, but we'll be curious to hear about some of your thoughts. And thanks a lot.
Awesome. Thank you, everybody. We'll see you Monday, the latest.
Thank
Bye-bye.
you. Bye bye.